Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope that you all enjoyed your Diwali, and I'm really very happy to see all of you very joining for this call today. And I really appreciate the time that you have taken out to attend this call, and I'm really thankful to all of you. So, our today's topic is very interesting and something which is very important in today's scenario. Let's begin with our topic, which is co-parenting. I'm sure a lot of people here who have joined must have been having these kind of questions, about a lot of things that we hear about co-parenting. What is co-parenting? Is it necessary to co-parent? And is this kind of setup a good kind of setup for every couple who's a divorce, like who has been going through divorce or separation? So I would just like to ask you people that, what do you feel about, what do you know about co-parenting? What have you heard or have you seen anyone in your family or friends or anywhere, where people like there are couples who have opted for this kind of setup? Anything that you can share here? Please go ahead. Anybody would like to share? Seema?
Yeah, I was thinking because
Yeah.
I have not experienced, but in a way, yes. But I'll ask when the further discussion goes on, I'll ask my questions. But yeah, a friend of mine who is not on the same on a good page of a marriage, and they are like in the separate rooms to then separate houses. But she was saying that we are doing co-parenting and it's going very well. He takes care of the child really nicely, and so it's working for me. So this is all I can tell you about co-parenting and my experience. I tried, but then it did not work. It was going in a wrong direction. So I had to take a call uh, of like not co-parenting because it was not working in a healthy manner. It was like poisoning the child's mind behind my back, and it was creating a lot of anxiety issues in my son. So then I did not stop co-parenting. The only thing that I stopped was that my son didn't wanted to go out and meet him. So he wanted him to meet in front of me in my own in our house, but the ex did not agree on that. So we couldn't go about for the co-parenting. So since then, there is no meeting. There are a lot of issues that my son go through. I keep consoling him from time to time, but it's hard to be a father and a mother both at the same time. I wish we could co-parent, but it did not work for us.
I definitely agree with you. Actually, in India, still a lot of couples do not want to, like go for co-parenting because firstly, एक तो सोसाइटी का टैबू इतना है, मतलब सब लोगों को लगता है मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल दे फील कि यार अगर को-पेरेंट ही करना है तो व्हाई डोंट यू पीपल स्टे टुगेदर एंड the other thing is like they will feel कि ये क्या है तुम अलग रह रहे हो वो अलग रह रहा है एंड ऐसे थोड़ी ना कोई फैमिली होती है बिकॉज इन माय केस भी मेरे साथ भी ऐसे हुआ था व्हेन आई डिसाइडेड दैट आई वांट टू separate and have like visitation rights I will be giving but no joint custody nahi and all that. So they were saying कि ऐसे थोड़ी ऐसे तो बच्चे का environment पूरा आप लोग खराब कर रहे हो and all that. And lot of my other friends also, especially I think Chaitra must also be knowing हमारे single parent community में भी every time lot of times these kind of issues arise, कई बार
Yeah,
दोनों
true. I agree.
या या ईगो क्लैशेस इतने होते हैं दोनों पेरेंट्स के
Yeah.
कोई किसी का सिंगल कस्टडी होने के बावजूद भी मतलब वो लोग करते हैं डिसाइड पेरेंट्स कोई भी पेरेंट्स ऐसे नहीं चाहेगा कि बच्चे का रिलेशनशिप खराब हो कोई भी पेरेंट के साथ, बट कोई ना कोई पेरेंट या तो इतना इमेच्योर होता है या उस तरह से अपने आप को हील नहीं कर पाते, ऑल्सो वी वुड अग्री दैट there is some kind of healing required in order to have this kind of setup for both the parents, क्योंकि ये co-parenting is not easy, because co-parenting is something you have to see your ex, it reminds you of lot of things. बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी भी है जो आपको थोड़ी बहुत कॉम्प्रोमाइज करनी पड़ेंगी या एक्सेप्ट करनी पड़ेंगी when it comes to your child's well-being. So I have seen lot of people who, कुछ पेरेंट्स अच्छे से कर भी लेते हैं, कुछ पेरेंट्स में नहीं कर पाते हैं, इश्यूज आते हैं, कई बार वो उल्टा पड़ जाता है. सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स हैपनिंग. सो व्हेन वी से कि co-parenting is the only way, then I don't think we should generalize, because lot of people keep telling lot of different kind of things कि co-parenting ही करना चाहिए, बच्चों को दोनों का प्यार चाहिए. आई अग्री, बट एट द सेम टाइम कि दोनों पेरेंट्स मेच्योर है, उतने मेच्योर है कि नहीं, वो भी देखना चाहिए ना. लाइक आई डोंट नो व्हाट यू गाइस फील अबाउट दिस.
Yeah, actually, for me, like co-parenting is, I have to imagine that, because right from the beginning, my husband really doesn't like any kind of responsibility. So, in case he was like ready to look after my son, I would have been with him. I mean, I'm not against this thing, but my mentality is at least, चलो मेरे बच्चे को देख रहा है ना, वो responsibility ले रहा है, तो मैं उधर ही, I would have been there. I wouldn't have been separated. So for him, he doesn't mind me staying with him, but he doesn't like his own son. So that co-parenting thing, right from even court case is going on, right from the beginning, he's like saying, let the child be with the mother, because he's like, I don't know, Ash, when he feels bored, he goes to Singapore, that kind of a person. So I do not know how this co-parenting is. I have watched many videos and all. I was actually hoping that he'll share the responsibility. I don't mind looking at his face. So
Yeah, I agree. Seema, you raised your hand.
Yeah, so when initially when he left the house, like that was in 2018, and when he left the house, he was bit like showing the signs of like maybe a good father he could be. That's what I thought. So it was very difficult for me, because on the what basis we were getting separated or whatever has happened was a big pill to digest, and still being a women, more than that, since I think when you become a mother, you think more differently for your kids than as a woman. In most of the times we think like a mother, like what will be good for my kid, everything is like too much revolving around your kids. So I also thought that okay, maybe we couldn't be good partners to each other, so maybe he would be a good father. So when he left and on what note he left was very easy for me, but still I welcomed him. So all Saturday and Sundays, he still showed a lot of ego, not talking to me. I mean, he used to come to our place. I used to extend my like it's the kind gesture. Like it's not with him only because he's father of my son, but it's generally my nature. So I used to greet him like with a glass of water, but he will not take it. He doesn't want to talk like nicely with me. He just want to be with my son. So seeing my son, and I didn't wanted him to be like not have a father around. So this is what I decided. So I used to leave them in a room to be there. Then he said that I want them to take him out, and my son was also fine. So I let them go out also. But what happened outside was not a very good thing. That could I mean, he could have been mature, but he took the girlfriend along. And when the girlfriend came into the picture, my son is 11, but kids are not that stupid that they don't understand what is happening in the family. So he didn't like it, and whatever has happened there, then my son like opened up, and I didn't expect it. At that time, my son was 9 years old, a 9 years old son telling me that you get a choice to make, you and my papa gets a choice to make, to get divorced, but I don't get a choice to make that whether I want to meet him. You don't know, because what was the outburst? Because I was telling him to go and meet him. He's coming to pick you up. At that, outbursts came and he told me whatever has happened in the last meeting. He even slapped him in that. So he was not comfortable. So he said, "I'm okay to meet, but tell him to meet in the house." So my son is he feels very unsafe with him. So I didn't told him whatever my son conveyed to me. So I handled it a different way. I said, "It's better you come over, you can sit and all." So it worked for a few weeks, he was showing, "Oh, wow, this and that." But then quickly he started poisoning him. So on certain instances when I'm not around, he's like saying, Matlab, you know, things that he should not tell a child. I mean, whatever has happened between us or whatever. So he was poisoning him in a way that it was affecting my son's mental health. And I'm not saying it to like defend myself, but the fact. So at that time, I had to take a decision that, listen, this is not going to work, because he was behaving very immature. I thought that things were between him and me, so can be like, okay, it didn't work out, we are separating, but co-parenting will work. But Vanshika, I agree. So even in the relationship and any kind of co-parenting, also maturity levels has to be there. So in the school also, constant mails goes to him, lot of things, but he's just cold. But when it comes to showing off in the courts, in the terms of showing the bills that he's sending the gifts, but no sentiments attached. And when he was staying with us also, he was very cold. Means it's only about him because he's a narcissist. So even the son was like on the mood. If he likes to be with him, maybe he will click a picture and post it on the Instagram. And so not like an actual attachment, but more of like a hot and cold relationship. So we had to take. So we were not left with any other choice but being just me and my son, because he doesn't want to come here. He started threatening me in different ways. So we were like, okay, bring it on. What we can do, because the signs were not too mature that I could leave my son with him all by myself. It's little hard to even explain, because Pele I used to tell myself that okay, he couldn't be a good husband. Now I have to explain myself that, I mean, how can a person not be a good father? I mean, doesn't he feel anything for his son? So just like in the numbers of quotes that he has sent this gift at this date, this is what is happening presently. So I have no words. I don't know I can ever think of co-parenting. But yes, in my school, my son's school, I've seen couples doing co-parenting. There are days, when people want to, where the father is coming to pick and drop, and they are more close. They even go for family holidays. So I even thought that way. I have expanded myself already like that. Okay, it didn't work between me, but as a parents, we are going to give him the best. But it's not working out like that as I thought. It's very difficult.
I definitely agree with you, Seema, especially when both the parents like are not on the same line, same kind of maturity level. It really becomes very, very difficult. And I can't really imagine, what your son must have gone through, how did he handle all these things? And even you, did you even take help of a counselor or a therapist, when all these things were going around? Or you could have,
I,
gone to a couples counselor also, because a lot of times when parents like go for co-parenting, so there are a lot of these kind of helps that come in and it can improve the relationship. So I don't know, I'm just trying
Yeah,
to.
you're absolutely right. And before giving up any relationship, whether it was narcissist, abusive, I wanted to give a complete try. That's what kind of a person I am. So I thought because of my son, we should go for counseling or something like that. Just a sec. I just have to open the door and I'll be back.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Chaitra, do you have some things to say? Neetu? What you have something, some experience
No,
or anything?
no, that's what I was thinking, because yesterday was my court case. Next date is November 3rd or 4th. So
Okay.
he actually doesn't want the child only right from the beginning, right from my pregnancy itself. So there's no question of, I do not know how this co-parenting works. And here in Mangalore, since it's a small city, I don't see anyone at my son's school. So all are normal couples. I feel I'm the only one who's been separated. So
Okay. Okay. Seema, yeah, continue.
So,
I'll come back to you, Chan.
so when I started telling him, let's go to the counselor, because it was more from the point of view of a co-parent, and maybe, give another try for yours, for the kids involved. And so he used to say, my husband used to like has this mentality which I used to struggle to understand. What is he saying? So his thought process regarding the therapist, the counselor is, वो mental के doctors हैं, मतलब the person who is mentally insane needs to go and see. So he used to say, कोई मैं पागल थोड़ी हूँ, या तो अगर तू पागल है तो तू चली जाए ऐसे कर डॉक्टर पे, मुझे तो जाने की जरूरत है. I said, they are not doctors, they are like, they are going to give us they'll let us know what is, how it can be workable. No, I don't need to go. So it was so difficult because he's been cold in the relationship. He's been cold as a father. When it comes to custody, he's very much sure. Like Chaitra is saying that he is a person who's self-centered, wants to go for trips. वो freedom नहीं अपनी छोड़नी. So even before 2018, when he was staying with us, when I was blessed with my son in 2011, very smartly he separated the room, saying, "You need the space to sleep with the child, so I don't want to." And I innocently believed him. And then that got, it got like from the different rooms to like not being there. So for his own child, he's not being there. So even when my son has gone through some really bad days of health, I am the one who used to run around the doctors. He is there, but he will come down with me till the lift. He will not pick up the child. And I'm going and assuming that he'll come with me in the car. And when I look at him and he's like, what? You know how to drive? Put the kid on the next to the driving seat and go and see the doctor. So I used to wonder how to create those emotions. So very quickly I understood that the emotions are missing, not only for me, but it's not there. So the maturity level that I was expecting is not there. And the thing that I didn't appreciate and like was, and is this, if I have gone through abuse, maybe I'm wrong also, if somebody has not healed and they have their way of thinking. So this person had this thing that मुझ में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, जो भी प्रॉब्लम है तुम्हारे में है, एंड मुझे बच्चा नहीं चाहिए, तुम रखो, मैं तो तुमसे चाह नहीं रहा हूँ, ये है वो है. सो सून वो जो दिखावा भी था थोड़े दिनों का, वो बंद हो गया. लाइक from just blaming me that you are the one coming in between me and my son. So when I told him that you are open to take him, you can come and meet him, you can take him out, it's between you and him. So वो सब बंद हो गया, no calls, no meeting, nothing. Now only the gifts arrives and along with the bill, and then that those bills are produced in the court on the hearings that, see, I'm such a good father. And in the school, when it comes to coming in front of the teachers, he's not there. They ask, Vidhan goes through so much, where father figure is required, he's not there. He gets irritated. Yeah, I am grown up, I can understand, but for a child to, channelize their emotions, it's difficult. So forgiving him on so many things, I don't know. But I wish people just don't give excuses when it comes to their kids. Kids are our responsibility. And if I have gone through some bad abuse in my childhood, it's my foremost duty to not let my child go through the same thing. So my ex-husband used to say, tell me what all he has gone through in the... So I thought he'll not make his son suffer. But when I started seeing that, he's not realizing that it's now about his son. It's not about the ego battles. But it's so difficult, Vanshika, like to if a person is not on the same page, because I go through a guilt so many times, because when my son goes through the emotional downtime, and like just wondering what to do, like what I'm supposed to do. I can't force another person to understand when he's not ready to understand. And just try to be there for my son. That's it. Keep explaining him, making him strong. And I am attached with this group with so many reasons, taking my healing, because I'm trying to be a better parent for him. That's what is I'm trying to do.
Okay, I can really understand what you must be going through. So, like you told me, like that you felt guilty, but at the same time you tried everything, right? Because a lot of the parents will not even try, क्योंकि वो होता है ना एक एंगर और गुस्सा, मतलब ईगो इतना होता है अपने एक्स के प्रति कि हमको फिर लगता है कि हाँ, मतलब वो फाइट होती है इतनी सारी कस्टडी के लिए फाइट्स एंड एवरीथिंग, सो लॉट ऑफ कपल्स डोंट इवन कंसिडर co-parenting. So I like it's hats off to you that you even considered, क्योंकि co-parenting के बारे में सोचना, actually उसको करना, it needs some kind of understanding, maturity level, and some kind of feeling too. Absolutely, I agree with that. But really, it's like, I don't know, ये court proceedings maybe itna sab, there are so many things happening behind it and in the court and everything. Abhi, I have not really experienced, but what I have heard from my friends and the other people, they just tell me, that a lot of parents, like they show what कोर्ट के सामने एकदम अलग शो करते हैं एंड पीठ पीछे एकदम अलग होते हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी कंफ्यूजन्स, and especially when it comes to our children, as parents we would always, like, I am a mother, I know that even I think a lot of things, a lot of times I feel, कि एक father figure होना जरूरी होता है, but at the same time if that person is not mature, and especially when it is an abusive parent, if any one of the parent is abusive, then it becomes really very difficult. So I decided to have visitation rights, because I knew very well what I went through. I had an abusive ex, and he had abused my daughter also when she was just 5 months old. So I was like, he nothing doing. I don't want my child to stay in such an abusive environment. And so it's like कि वो बोलते हैं ना, कभी कभी बीच का रास्ता ढूंढ लेते हैं जहाँ पे मतलब बच्चे के लिए भी नुकसान नहीं हो वैसे. And then I talked with my lawyer also. So she said कि visitation rights में 15-20 मिनट का ही होता है, and कोर्ट में ही एक रूम में किसी पर्सन के सामने फादर को मिलवा सकते. तो आई वाज लाइक, ठीक है, अच्छी बात है, एटलीस्ट शी विल हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ बॉन्ड, वो एक मिसिंग उसको नहीं लगेगा. बिकॉज सो दैट्स हाउ आई वर्कड आउट माय सिचुएशन. बट सबके साथ ऐसा नहीं होता है, सबकी अलग अलग सिचुएशंस होती है. सो या, एनीबॉडी वुड लाइक टू शेयर एनीथिंग एल्स? नीतू, साकेत?
No, no. When I joined this group, something else. I thought it will be of something different topic. Like I'm married, no problem. And
Okay, actually this group is
no, I
about
thought co-parenting means like how to co-parent children. But what you are saying like means what I got to know now. जो आप कह रहे हैं वो सही है. आज के डेट में मतलब मेरे हस्बैंड के एक दो फ्रेंड है जो लोग इस प्रोसेस में जा रहे हैं, डिवोर्स प्रोसेस में. तो माय हस्बैंड टेल देम कि और कुछ नहीं तो कम से कम को पेरेंटिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट लेना चाहिए. जैसे फॉरेन में है कि एक को कस्टडी ले लो और दूसरे को विजिटिंग राइट दो. कुछ पेरेंट्स ना, जो आप कह रहे हैं, एक पेरेंट्स चाहता ही नहीं है कि दूसरा पेरेंट्स मिलने आए. कभी कभी मतलब जेंट्स के केस में भी होता है कि वो कस्टडी तो कैसे करके ले लेते हैं, लेकिन फिर वो चाहते हैं कि मदर ना मिले, क्योंकि उन्हें लगता है कि मीन्स वो एक थॉट प्रोसेस बना के रखते हैं बच्चों के दिमाग में कि ये गलत है या जो भी कुछ है. तो हम लोग ये टाबू से भी तो नहीं हट रहे हैं. पहले तो हम लोग नहीं चाहते सेपरेशन, और फिर अगर हो रहा है तो फिर उसको टाबू की तरह यूज करते हैं. तो दैट्स अ प्रॉब्लम स्पेशली इन इंडियन सोसाइटी. उसमें कुछ नहीं कर सकते. लाइक वी हैव टू स्ट्रगल दिस फेज.
Yeah, I agree with you, Neetu. No, co-parenting है, single parenting है, it's वो सब इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, बट द मेन पॉइंट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड आवर चाइल्ड्स वेलबींग, वो सब पहले आता है. डेफिनेटली वी नीड टू हील आवरसेल्व्स एज वेल, बट एट द सेम टाइम बच्चे के लिए क्या बेस्ट वर्क करता है हमें वो देखना चाहिए. I will share certain things if you know, like how co-parenting works, and you know what co-partners need to understand and practice when they are getting into this kind of a setup. So the important thing is that to acknowledge your decision. So once you know parents have decided to separate or take a divorce, then it's okay. If that's what is good or best for you, then it is a good thing. Like you don't need to feel guilty or shame, or especially don't listen to society and everything, you know, कि तुम divorce मत करो, क्यों divorce ले रहे हो, बच्चे क्या होगा, especially when the child is in the picture, then you know it's really difficult. And yes, somewhere लोगों का concern भी सही है, but at the same time they don't understand that it's the proper environment, a conducive environment that a child needs, you know. And if even one parent is mature enough to provide that kind of love, that kind of environment, then it's okay. So we need to get out of this, you know, mindset and that kind of taboo कि दोनों parents होना जरूरी ही है. Again, like you know, Seema said, उसके साथ तो completely it was like backfiring when she went for co-parenting. So you need to really understand and know कि दोनों partners का कैसा है maturity level. Are they on the same page? Are they ready to work if they want to go for this kind of setup? So these things we need to keep in mind. The other thing is to you know recognize that kids are not the kids are like psychic sponges. So you know whatever we are behaving and everything that we are feeling, children really understand what we go through. It's just that वो लोग express नहीं कर पाते हैं. उनका express करने का तरीका कई बार होगा, they will be unreasonably angry or you know irritative, या वो लोग you know tantrums throw करेंगे, they would be demanding. So these kind of behavior show that you know they want that kind of validation from you, that you know you will not abandon me, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं वो एक बच्चे में fear आ जाता है. I will share my own experience. Like कुछ time पहले my daughter was getting sick, you know, lot of times, and what mistake I did was कि उसको बहुत लंबे time के लिए school में भेज दिया. And you know I was not really getting emotionally involved with her, and she is very expressive and an emotional child. So जब मैं उसको होम्योपैथिक डॉक्टर के पास लेके गई तो उन्होंने बोला कि you know she understands that there is a lack of a parent. So because of that, most of the times you know she feels that kind of lacking support or love from your side, because maybe you are not giving that kind of loving environment, or that kind of loving, you're not showing or expressing yourself. Because कभी कभी जब मैं अपसेट होती थी या मेरे बहुत ओवरवेलमिंग इमोशंस होते थे तो शी यूज्ड टू क्विकली अंडरस्टैंड. सो आई रियली अंडरस्टूड दैट कि हम लोग भले ही बच्चों को बोले या नहीं बोले, वो वाइब्रेशंस बच्चों को पहुंचती है. एंड दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड रियलाइज कि हम लोग क्या किस तरह का एनवायरनमेंट दे रहे हैं बच्चों को, किस तरह से हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं. दूसरी बात, अगर आप को पेरेंट सेटअप के लिए जा रहे हो तो यू नो व्हेन योर एक्स इज अराउंड, डोंट मतलब एक कॉर्डियल रिलेशनशिप बना के रखो जब बच्चा सामने होता है तब, बिकॉज दैट रियली हेल्प्स द चाइल्ड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू नो नेचुरली वो थोड़ा अगर बच्चे के लिए आता है आपके दो पेरेंट्स के बीच में, तो इट रियली हेल्प्स द चाइल्ड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि नहीं मेरे पेरेंट्स के बीच में होगा कोई प्रॉब्लम, बट यू नो एट द सेम टाइम बोथ द पेरेंट्स लव मी अ लॉट. They are together because they both love me. And so the kind of words, the kind of body language you show to your children, especially when your ex is around, that is really very important. The other thing is, अगर co-parenting हम लोग करते हैं तो कई बार मैंने कई कपल्स में ये देखा है, यू नो हम लोग की सिंगल पेरेंट कम्युनिटी में भी एक बार डिस्कशन हो रहा था कि यू नो फादर है, कभी टाइम पे लेने नहीं आएंगे, या सडनली ही विल कम एंड आस्क टू मीट द चाइल्ड एंड टू टेक हिम और हर, मुझे उसको बाहर लेके जाना है 2 दिन के लिए. सो यू नीड टू हैव दैट प्लानिंग. पहले से थोड़ा प्लान करके रखो तो बच्चों के लिए इजी होता है. वो ट्रांजिशन फेज उनके लिए इजी रहेगा, क्योंकि उनका ऑलरेडी वो 2 फैमिलीज के बीच में उनका ट्रांजिशन हो रहा है. कभी ये फैमिली में वो जा रहा है, कभी उस फैमिली में. तो अगर सेट स्केड्यूल्स होते हैं, कुछ सेट प्रिडिक्टेबल स्केड्यूल्स होंगे, तो बच्चों के लिए भी इजी रहता है. सो उस तरह से को पेरेंटिंग में जब आप आपस में दोनों पार्टनर्स मिलके प्लानिंग करते हैं कि चलो मैं ये टाइम पे उसको लेके जाऊंगा, या ये महीने में इतने टाइम के लिए मैं आऊंगा, तो दैट बिकम्स इजी फॉर द चाइल्ड ऑल्सो. One of the most important things to understand is that don't abuse your ex or his or her family in front of your children. अपने बच्चों में कभी भी कोई भी गलत बात मत डालो, कोई भी एक पेरेंट को लेके या उनकी फैमिली को लेके, because we don't understand this thing, but it really affects the child. And why do we want to do this? कोई मुझे बता सकता है कि हम लोग ऐसे क्यों करते हैं? Why do we do? What do we get out of this?
We couldn't. Maybe people do it because they are not able to do it in front of their own partners, and this is kind. I will, if you ask me, it's kind of an abuse only. In the sense you are abusing, not abuse, but means you are trying to be a better person in your child's eyes, and making the other party, maybe we feel insecure, and we think that if I'll do like this, so my son will be more close to me, and when they will meet, I think some kinds of insecurities may be behind this.
Yeah, Seema, you're right. This is very true. Actually, जब हमें वो fear होता है, हमें खुद में जब वो confidence नहीं होता ना, and we have these kind of insecurities कि कल को जब ये बड़ा होगा या बड़ी होगी, and they will ask certain questions about the other parent, and फिर वो तो उसके पास चला जाएगा या चला जाएगी, तो why not उसके कान में उल्टा सीधा भरो या उसके माइंड में ऐसे सब बिठा दो. I had one family friend जिसकी grandmother used to do that with one of her grandchild. वो अपनी मदर के खिलाफ उसकी मदर के खिलाफ उसको बहुत ऐसे सब बोलते थे उल्टा सीधा, एंड दैट व्हेन दैट चाइल्ड ग्रू अप वो अपनी मदर के एकदम अगेंस्ट हो गया था. एंड दैट लेडी यूज्ड टू क्राई सो मच कि ये मतलब बिकॉज वो इन लॉज के बीच में दे वर रिफ्स, सो these doing these kind of things and showing these kind of behaviors, चाहे वो कोई भी हो, then it's affecting the child and the relationship. So we should really be careful, चाहे वो mother हो या father हो या कोई और हो, we should be really very careful what are we feeding our child.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll add, a term to this. So whenever, not just with the child, but in any of the relationship, to develop a connection with somebody, if we have to, gunpoint or make the other person bad, then basically this is called scapegoat mechanism in relationships, right? Because the only way the person has found to develop a connection with that person, in this case we're talking about a parent child, or like Vanshika gave an example, a grandparent or child, any such relationships, this happen even amongst husband and wife. So sometimes between a few couples, what happens, or maybe people who are dating each other, so the only way they have found out to actually connect with each other is through trauma or through pain or through back bitching about other people. So they make the other person a scapegoat, and then using them as a scapegoat, they connect with each other. For an example, let's suppose my mom wants to connect with me, and I'm more favoring towards my dad, so she would tell me ill things about my dad, and so that I can connect with her, and in my eyes my dad is bad and my connection with her is strong. But now the problem is that such relationships have got no foundation. The foundation was like literally a third person. So in this case, when the child grows up, when first of all the child gets, a lot of trauma, because parents are our foundations, and the kind of mindset we get from our parents and we create for our parents, it defines like hell too many things for us as children. So the child is grows up with like a really weak mindset. And the second thing that happens is that they get like a lot of wounds and traumas, and about themselves, their self image is not very good, is very poor. And so in many different ways, it literally scars the children when we or even scars the relationship when we use other people as a scapegoat. Like if a husband and wife just start blaming just somebody else for the problem in their relationship, and then they come back together. So even if it is a short term solution for them, it's actually not going to help them a lot, because someday there would be end of these scapegoats and reasons for continuing the fight, and then it just doesn't go in the right direction.
You absolutely correct here, because the last relationship where I was identified as toxic and all. So for a moment, I took step back and I was like, "What is happening?" So what you're saying now, I may not know the terminology, but now I know it. So the wife passed away. So in all the means examples the person used to give, you would used to be like the blames were on the dead wife. So after a while it became so much. So I told him one of the times in a very angry mood. I said, she's not here to defend herself. So even if you want to explain something related to the relationship, maybe you cannot. You just don't drag her in between this whatever we have. So apparently he stopped doing it, but somewhere I also saw he was so angry, and the same mistakes he was doing in front of his own grown-up daughter, 18 years old. So what I could discover was like in him that he's absolutely like he's not done anything wrong. Whatever wrong has happened in the relationship has happened because of the dead wife. She was an angry person, she has done this. Then it is going as an example to the kids also. But what has happened now is this, from a distance where I have come to know, is that the daughter is not respecting him also. I mean, if he thought that he's going to blame it on the mother, that she was not good, this, that, but the child has started questioning him also, and the child himself is going through so much of mental health issues. I from a distance can only pray that the kids don't suffer like. But this is wrong. I mean, this is like, I think you should be able to own it, that yes, I'm like this. So I don't know, because I was not like, I'm not being prideful, but in a very moment where I used to feel guilty and struggling so much. So I had a word with a parenting coach and all. So I said, because my son is asking so many questions, I sometimes feel that to tell him the reality. So then I actually opened to my son. Maybe he was too young to understand. But in this atmosphere, I realized he became mature. And I didn't realize that, because so much is happening and he's struggling to understand how to do it and all. So when I opened up in front of him about the reality of the things, my bond was okay with him. His bond was okay with his father also. And वो जो एक एंजाइटी और इमोशन से स्ट्रगल हो रहा था, वो थोड़ा सा बंद हो गया. I mean, so I think sometimes it's, if a child is there in a space of like talking, you should be true to them that this is happening, rather than taking the sides. Tell them actual thing, that this is not working out, this has happened. And so I was open to my son, and till date I'm open, and he and me have this understanding. He is open to me talk, even go and stay with him. For me, it's always going to be like that. But yeah, I cannot take the surety of the other person that he wants to do this or not. So I don't know. But why people like, I wish they don't make kids suffer in these cases. So when we say that we have gone through a trauma, so the trauma is teaching us even to be a better parent, whether married, not married. But how can I make my son go through the same thing that maybe I or my ex-husband has gone through? Then even if we are healed, but at least we are aware and we can try not to make him suffer like that.
Yeah, I completely agree, Seema. Also, there are a lot of, debates wherein, even if it's an adopted child or, after separation, what is the correct time or what is the correct thing to say to a child where after the separation, कब कहना चाहिए, कैसे कहना चाहिए. There are a lot of things. So, Anamika and Akarma, what do you think? Like, what would be the right thing to do? Like a more healthy thing to do.
I don't know. I don't have a child. So I guess I would hand over the mic to Akarma. He would be able to tell better.
Okay.
Um, See, one thing that you mentioned, that talking bad about the other partner in front of the um, yeah, when you are co-parenting. So I'm doing that. That I have seen that happens. Um, so some of my close relations and some people I know who have been through divorce and custody of kids and all that. This has happened that because the wife couldn't get along with the husband, and took the custody of the child. And then, as kids are living with them, then you know, maybe the intention is not so much. Sometimes the intention is that also the intention is to not allow kids have bond with their father. That is also there. Um, there are many different kind of people out there, so it's not that sometimes we say it's not possible why a parent would not want this to happen, but there are parents who don't want this to happen. They don't get along and they don't want the kids, they want kids to pick a side. So I've seen those cases. I've seen those cases where indirectly kids are forced to pick sides, and that's not healthy, definitely. Even I'm sure that somewhere down the track, people who are doing it, they know that it's not healthy, but they are still doing it. So it comes down to the thing that co-parenting is not possible unless both the parents are mature enough to handle the divorce. If if they can separate harmoniously from each other, then co-parenting is can be healthy and possible as well. But if the separation is happening with a lot of grief and a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness and a lot of resentment, then somewhere it does get spilled to kids as well. No matter how much they try not to, but it does get spilled to the kids. Even if parents are not saying anything directly to them, but if at home, if they are not in a good, healthy state of mind, if they are depressed, demotivated, not too much engaged, and not living a happy life themselves, then indirectly that will affect kids. Even if they are not saying anything bad about the other partner, yeah, but their own state of being tells a lot to the kids. So it is very important that that this thing be healed properly. This thing be looked at, and some level of whichever parent is taking the custody of the kids, it becomes even more important and their moral responsibility to at least work on themselves and heal their grief from this separation. Um, for the sake of kids, at least, if not for their own sake, if they don't feel that they have to do anything, but at least for the sake of the kids, they should work on themselves and get themselves to a healthier state of mind. It doesn't matter if they want to get into a new relationship or not. None of those things matter. The only thing matters is that now the kid is completely dependent on one parent, and if that parent is not in a healthy state of mind, then intentions alone are not enough. Intention to give uh, time to the kid, or facilities to the kid, or intentions to the kid wants a healthy present parent. And if if the woman or the man, whoever has got the custody, if they are not in a healthy state of mind, if they feel depressed, demotivated, then that would affect the child. Um, that would happen. That's what I would say.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I really agree with you, Akarma. And so it's like very interesting to say. मतलब India में sometimes we focus so much on interdependence, and कि सबको साथ में मिलके रहना चाहिए, ऐसा होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए, but at the same time, even when we want to create that kind of a harmonious relationships, there are a lot of uh, parents that I know, they wanted to opt for co-parenting, but वहाँ पे, because of the societal pressure, because of the families, they had this kind of taboo कि ये क्या, ये कोई setup थोड़ी होता है, ये तो western concept है, और इससे तो आप ये कुछ होगा नहीं, ये तो सब बकवास चीज है। एंड दोनों जब पेरेंट्स साथ में रहते हैं एक घर के नीचे, तभी वो फैमिली होती है। सो देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स टू टैकल एट द सेम टाइम। So it really becomes difficult to decide, and even if you want to opt for a better things for our child, and it becomes really difficult। फिर वो आप लोग को कोर्ट
And
में घसीटते हैं।
yeah, and if 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 one of the parents have, if let's say if the wife has moved with their parents along with the kids to get some support and all that, so that's fine, which may be required, or the man could also move closer just to get some support from family. It's hard to bring up kids all by themselves. It is important to also make sure that those people around are not indirectly, again, poisoning the environment, because once again, if the parents, in their own no voiceness and in their own kind of innocence or whatever you call it, they'll start talking bad about the other parent, or blaming their own kid, that what a mistake it has happened, and why it happens to us, why you have to go through, and constantly like talking about those things in front of the kids. Again, that becomes a very toxic environment for the kids. So yes, we need support, but either I feel that um, in the name of support, if the environment is getting toxic, then it's more important to get out of that environment, because that kind of support can actually create more harm for the kids in long term. So logistically, yes, you can get some support and all that, but the kind of environment that support is coming from, not healthy for the kids. So that's another thing to look into as well, or have a chat with those people, and make sure that they also realize that this kind of talk in front of kids, or this kind of constant reminders about what happened, why it happened, this person was like this only, we already knew that this will happen, or you know talking bad about the other person in front of the kids, or constantly being in that energy field, then a talk needs to happen as well. So, and especially as you mentioned about joint family and all that is happening, so you have to be more mindful about these things, that what kind of environment we are putting the kids in after such kind of breakup, because they are also going through some kind of emotional turmoil in this period. Maybe they are not able to express it. Um,
Yeah, exactly. And also, a lot of times I've noticed that, like, one of my friends was sharing, that बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि बच्चों में ऑब्वियसली दोनों पेरेंट्स के ट्रेट्स आते हैं, तो
हाँ,
कई बार कोई भी एक पेरेंट का ट्रेट, बिकॉज यू हैव बीन सेपरेटेड फ्रॉम दैट योर एक्स, एंड वो ट्रेट अगर वो बच्चे में आता है तो वो बच्चे को ऊपर वो लोग गुस्सा करेंगे, इरिटेशन, फ्रस्ट्रेशन, स्पेशली when that child is behaving like your ex in certain manners.
हाँ,
So,
हाँ,
so
हाँ,
that is
which is
also
not very
unhealthy.
healthy thing.
Yeah.
Exactly, क्योंकि उसमें बच्चे का तो कोई कसूर नहीं है ना. They have inherited and they will inherit father mother's trait, like that's biological in nature. अब उसके लिए उनको ब्लेम करना और उसके लिए उनको रिप्रिमांड करना या उनको ऐसा बताना कि ये गलत है, that again is even if you're not talking bad about the other parent, but indirectly you are saying this, then it's sending the same message to the kid. सो सपोर्ट के नाम पे थोड़ा लॉजिस्टिकल सपोर्ट मिल रहा है उनसे, लेकिन द काइंड ऑफ मेंटल डैमेज इट इज डूइंग टू द किड, इट्स नॉट वर्थ इट.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing more from myself.
Okay. Also, I would like to, mention this, that when you are going through this kind of situation, please do ask for help. Either it's your parents or your family friends, or even if it's a therapist or a parenting coach, like Seema. Seema had been to a parenting coach, right, Seema? So,
Yes, definitely.
sometimes, yeah.
अकेले नहीं सब कुछ कर सकते हैं. अकेले is like you are already like you yourself is in a state of mind where you are like, what is right and wrong. Sometimes maybe it is right according to you, but situation demands a expert. uh, I have realized where you need help is an expert will be more better anyways, because I will be doing things as per my understanding, which may be right and which may not be right.
Absolutely, Seema, because and a lot of times, ऐसी situations में family इतनी emotionally involved होती है. There are friends who will tell you a lot of things. There will be relatives, but at the same time, they obviously उनका वो biases, prejudices वो सब आएगा ही अगर वो आपको help भी करेंगे. So
ये तो है
definitely,
कि जो मेल फैमिली मतलब जैसे एक्स हस्बैंड है, उसकी फैमिली विल बी सपोर्टेड टुवर्ड्स हिम, my family will be supported towards me. So that I've seen it even when it comes to solving the issues between the couples. I think therapists are the best. Couple therapists or coaches are better answer than the families, because they complicate the situations more. I've been there and I know in कोई solution नहीं निकलता, बल्कि it becomes like an ego drama for both the families. Then when they are meeting and greeting each other on the occasions also, then also it's about something. So it's like they I think nobody can think straight at that time. Maybe the girl's parent is also feeling bad because their daughter has going through a divorce or separation. They're not able to express it, but they're angry on the groom, so they will take it out obviously like this. Only thing the best they can do is talk bad about at their back. My laws will not talk good to my son uh, uh, on my back. So I never take that risk, because I've seen that also. So it's very risky, because then those questions that kids have now, it's very difficult to handle. The situation becomes very complicated. It becomes very complicated.
I definitely agree with you. Especially when children ask questions after these kind of meetings and everything, it really becomes difficult to explain to them a lot of things, especially if it's a young child. So I would always like say that no matter if you're co-parenting or not, you need to provide a very safe and secure environment to the child. So it's co-parenting depends again, दोनों पेरेंट्स के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. अगर दोनों पेरेंट्स मेच्योर है ये चीज के लिए तो जाना चाहिए. अदरवाइज it's like if even one parent is mature enough to take care and handle everything, then it's good enough, you know. And the other thing is, एक एक टाइम के बाद आफ्टर आई थिंक थेरेपिस्ट काउंसलर्स से हमको कंसल्ट करना चाहिए. एंड बच्चों को भी सही टाइम पे सही चीज बताना है. कुछ भी मैंने बहुत लोगों से सुना है, एवरीबडी लॉट ऑफ पीपल टेल मी दैट इवन काउंसलर्स आई हैव टॉक्ड विद, मैं अपने डॉटर के लिए आई हैड वंस टॉक्ड विद अ काउंसलर एंड शी टोल्ड कि जब भी टाइम आए प्लीज डोंट वो मिर्च मसाला लगा के कुछ ऐड करके सब्ट्रैक्ट करके ये सब नहीं करना है. जो भी है उनकी लैंग्वेज में उनकी लेवल को समझते हुए यू शुड टेल देम द ट्रूथ, because that way they will also learn to handle these kind of situations. आगे उनकी लाइफ में वो लोग कैसे conflicts handle करेंगे. Ultimately the kind of behavior we show, that will affect the child and they will learn that only, those behaviors. So it's very important. Also, other thing I've noticed is that when you are living, like I am living with my parents, so सबके साथ it is very important to create some healthy boundaries. So they understand, क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है, ग्रैंड मदर बहुत इमोशनल हो जाती है तो शी विल डू थिंग्स विच इज कम्प्लीटली contrary to what I'm doing. So वो बच्चा confused हो जाएगा. So he will himself or herself not be able to practice those healthy boundaries when he grows up. So it's really important. हमको as a parent, we need to be very, very mindful. These are things I have applied myself as a parent. I have learned a lot after having a daughter and going through so many things. Even for deciding to have visitation rights, it took me almost 3 years to accept, to forgive my ex, because ultimately the child is not our private property. They have come through, yeah, like they have come from us, but they are not our private property ki jaise bhi humko acha lagega we will deal with it. So I really understood that that kind of parenting is really required, जहाँ पे हम लोग consciously mindfully बच्चे को क्या feed कर रहे हैं, कैसे उसको experiences हम लोग दे रहे हैं, that is really very important. So these things are very, very important to keep in mind as a parent. And it's good if अगर co-parenting ना सही, but अगर possible हो तो visiting rights अगर हो सकता है ये possible देना, तो I would say it's a good option to go for. अगर मतलब either of the parent is not very abusive, or you mentally unsound hai, yeah, like in some of my friends case the guy was completely very aggressive, usko to गुस्सा ही कंट्रोल में नहीं था. तो then she obviously, how could she opt for visiting rights? But at the same time, when I asked my lawyer कि visitation rights मुझे देने में problem नहीं है, I would obviously be most happiest person when if my daughter has a good bond, a healthy bond with her father. So she said कि अभी काफी चीजें change हो रही है, legally, and कोर्ट में ही 20 मिनट के लिए एक टाइम सेट होता है, एंड इट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू कि आपको महीने मतलब साल में 3 महीने विजिटेशन देना है. एंड कोर्ट में ही एक बंदा प्रेजेंट होता है, वहां पे वो बच्चे के साथ इंटरैक्ट करते हैं. तो वो सब पॉसिबिलिटीज ही नहीं होती है कि वो कुछ तुम्हारे बच्चे को गलत बोल रहा है या वो कुछ उल्टा सीधा सिखा रहा है आपके बच्चे को. तो
we are already preparing for it, but one of the chances the ex conveyed that उसका ना जो ego मतलब ना, there are people you can talk with, there are people who just convey, I mean this is it. So उसका क्या कहना है कि मैंने तो तेरे से विजिटेशन भी नहीं मांगा, रख तू रख इसको, इसका दिमाग खराब कर, अच्छे से कर, मैं पैसे फेंकता रहूंगा. So now his language is something that I really don't appreciate. And I anyways wanted my son to have a bond with him, because मेरा वैसा वाला ego आया ही नहीं था. इसीलिए I opened my doors again to him to come and meet, take him outside so that he can have a good relationship. But that is what he shows a lot of signs of aggression, like he hit him for a very small thing. So then it becomes very difficult for me to decide that, okay, should I allow? So that is why I told him that you come home and meet. So he started coming home. Then slowly, because it was just an excuse, to show off that I want to meet my son. So I don't think so. If we become a parent, I need to be reminded by somebody. If I love my son, and if I'm able to meet him for whatever number of minutes or time, does not matter what place, what time. It's just that I'm meeting my son and I'm able to have a bond with him. But if I have strategies, or if I'm just using it for some or the other reasons, then in the long run, I saw that it was just like from time to time being used for something or the other. So then the only thing is that is like wait and watch, because now I'm not saying anything, like, because Pachi, we don't talk at all, because he's very abusive. Even if you say even a single line, there will be 10 lines of abuse. So now the case is already on. So he doesn't come to the court. His lawyer keeps on buying the time, something. So we are just waiting if this thing comes, because somewhere I know that he doesn't want to even meet. He is absolutely okay to not meet, greet. I don't know what is on his mind, why he's been just using it in the for the finances purposes. The bills are being used. I don't see an emotional connect. I just see it for the sake of bills and all. So I don't know what to say. I'm just there for my son, and yeah, I don't tell him to disrespect him, because I tell him that, see, there are things that has happened and there was no control about it, and that's fine. But he will remain your biological father forever, whether he likes it or not. But that is how it is, beta. So even if you want to go and meet, yeah, my son misses him on occasions. He mentions it, and he's allowed to express it to me in any ways. So, but we are not able to have any conversations with the ex, because उसके लिए हर चीज में ना money आ जाता है. So I really don't know how to talk after a certain minutes of conversation. I'm like, what to say? And then he records and all, how it goes for the courts. So then now it is like a silent zone kind of a thing. Like, it's like, okay, so just me and my son. So I'm just trying to heal myself, because I know that, like a karma is saying, you have said it. Because there are outbursts, I'll be honest. There are outbursts because I'm exhausted mentally, because there is too much to handle. I don't get my space to be myself. Even if I'm angry, I have to put up a mask and be fine. I'm a human being. So, since I've started healing through this, and I'm planning to have a therapist or maybe a karma and Anamika, like I said, I'm preparing myself mentally. So, what I've realized is I've started being open in terms of downtime with my son. When I'm like too much angry or frustrated, I just ask a little bit of time to myself, like my space, to be like, I just tell him that I'm a little not okay. So he understands that. And because I don't want to be like bursting out my anger, frustrations on him, because at the end of the day, uska in sab cheezon mein koi kasoor nahi hai. It's like, it didn't work out between me. And yes, I'll have being a single parent is my choice. So the things will come along with it. It won't be an easy journey. So taking out my frustration and anger on him doesn't make any sense to me. He's a child, and it's better that I heal myself and understand. And I don't know about the in-laws, but I have to save him more from my family people, because when they come out to the outbursts and negative talk about our marriage or anything, so it gives a very negative picture to him. And I've seen he gets silent. He's a very talkative child, but those times he becomes silent. And then I've given him the journal writing technique. So he writes, and I've told him you can write anything you want to about anybody. So, it's like again a trial and error practice for myself, not with my kid. For me to understand if this works, this doesn't works. So being open definitely works because it makes the child understand what is happening. वो जो एक confusion conflict होता है अगर उस age में है बच्चा समझने के लिए, but honestly if you ask me, kids understand somehow whatever is happening, whatever age they are, they pick up that vibe. We are their idol. They will understand what is happening. They may not say it. So when I started opening up to my son, I find it little easy because वो जो फालतू का एग्जाइटी, वो अटैक्स, पैनिक अटैक्स, वो सब बंद हो गया. मतलब you know, he was getting answers to his questions. Any questions he asks, whether it's very difficult, I try my best to answer him. This is what the coach said, that since you have that bond, so it's good you maintain this with him, that you keep answering him honestly. What anybody else says, don't be bothered about that. Let him know, you know, and let him decide as he's growing what version he wants to take with him, what is authentic. They will learn with the time what is the reality. I don't want to feed something in him ki, okay, I'm right, he's wrong. No, I just told him that we are two different people, got married, and you know, it's difficult to stay under one roof, and we tried, but it didn't work it out. And that doesn't make your father bad. It's just that we have different stories. I never told him that he's abused, although there are few memories which cannot go from his mind. Here and there, it's there. The abuse was there, and that was the indication that actually gave me a strength also to move out of this marriage, because I was like, I have taken it on myself. I will not like to give it to my son. The abuse is something that I don't want to give it to him.
That is absolutely amazing to hear this.
It's not easy, Vanshika, to
I
take
know it's
decisions.
not.
It's like
I
it's
definitely agree with you because a lot of things I can resonate with you, and a lot of other people who, like, people have shared with me a lot of their stories, and I really, understand being a single parent. So somewhere, a support system is very important, especially in schools, talking to the teachers, telling them what is happening, and there are school counselors as well
yeah,
now. So that really helps, and
yeah.
family maybe वो support होना. So for me, my mother is a big support. My father is a support. For a lot of people, their family, like their friends are big support. So it also depends. You need to, really also try to identify ऐसे टाइम पे कौन आपको support कर सकता है.
So in my case, if you ask me, the school has been a big, big support. I've never lied to them. If there has been any calls from the teachers for the meetings and asking me to go and meet the counselor in the school, to put Vedant under it so that they can help him out. There are ups and downs because this journey is not easy. It's not one day journey. It's like phases. Sometimes he's fine altogether. Sometimes there are nothing at all, anything. Then something is there suddenly. So it's also a part of growing. You know, the hormonal changes so much. So mostly from the time I started my journey of getting separated, my one toe is in the school also. So I have been open and supportive. The school is Touchwood, thankfully, very nice, and they're supportive. So I've taken help from counselors, from the teachers. So each and every subject teacher knows it, what is happening, why this behavior, what is happening, why not happening. So I've been apparently very open, and it helps because I feel rather than putting it under the carpet, it's better to put it in front of the people and let them know that this is happening, and we are not playing a sympathy card, but this is the reality of our life. And maybe I can deal with it, but my son is learning to deal with it because he's just 11. And as far as my family is there, I have got my most of the trauma and abuse from my family. So when I talk about protecting him, so I have to protect him from two people, that is maybe from his father and my family. They are not supportive, but they really poison his mind when I'm not around. Maybe for me also, they'll give him some examples of my failures in life. So it was very disheartening, but I have developed a healthy boundary, a strong one. So it's difficult for me to manage everything myself, but then who to trust. So yeah, friends are there from time to time. I take my help from them. There are therapists. My friends are also coaches and all. So I keep asking, talking, taking the sessions. But I don't think so I can take help or rely on my family, because I am more bothered what they will be doing the damage. Because एक already है और एक और जो नया हो जाएगा उसको, it's too much for me to handle. You know, I don't know. Because